Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. But today I wanted to go over these watercolors that seem to be all the rage right now. They are by a company called Mijello, and they're called Mission Gold watercolors. There's been some confusion. I did a lot of research on these before I purchased them because I'm kind of particular about my watercolors, especially artist quality watercolors. Some people on YouTube are making claims that the 36 color set that comes with the palette, the smaller tubes, 7 ml tubes, they're considered student quality, but that is not true at all. They do make another product or another set that's called pure pigment. So people are assuming those are artist quality and then these are not artist quality. The only difference in the two sets is that in the pure pigments, it makes it much easier for someone who's new to color mixing to be able to mix colors without getting mud, because these pure pigments are just that. It's one single pigment per tube. So some colors, like violets, require two pigments in order to make it. And orange, same thing. It's a secondary color if you're familiar with the color wheel, which I'm not going to get into today. But so they're both artist quality pigments. That's the claim. They claim very high light fastness quality in all of their pigments, and I did a little bit of research on that too. Let me open up this box. It does come with a color chart. So I'm just going to set the palette down for a minute and show you this color chart, which is really nice. I mean, with Daniel Smith, you have to pay $23 for their color chart, although they have a lot more colors, and I think it's like cardboard quality color chart also. But this is the color chart. It comes with 105 different pigments that they offer. And all of them are listed on here, which is really nice if you want to find another pigment that you're looking for. On these are stars that you'll see. If you can see the stars on these different paints. Excuse my nail polish is chipping off. But 5 stars mean that... Oh, wait a minute, I'm getting mixed up here. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's kind of, no, it isn't reversed. I kind of get it mixed up in my head. 5 stars means that it is very high light fast quality, which means it's going to hold its pigment for its life. So once you put it on paper, it will stay light fast and it should not change. And there are very few of them listed that are not light fast, but there are a couple, like down here, this bright rose, I think that's what it says, I'm reading it in reverse in my camera here, has a 2-star light fast quality. And there's a little chart over here that tells you the light fastness. If you're wanting your art to last a lifetime, you really want to stay in the 4 to 5 star range. Going below that is going to start to get questionable on whether or not your painting will change over time. So there are a few, so you just want to be careful. If you're wanting to make sure that your paintings are going to last forever, then you want to avoid those colors and just mix the color yourself with some of the light fast colors here in the set. The other thing is that they claim to not use any silicone dioxide in their paints, and they do not use any harmful chemicals. They have no cadmiums and no industrial chemicals in their binder like some other companies do. And the other thing I wanted to tell you about them is that they, with this silicone dioxide that is used in some paints, it's used in order to create granulation effects in some that are not mineral-based paints, like synthetics. They'll add that to it, and they call it a thickening agent, and they state that they put no thickening agents in their paints like some other companies might do, and that they say that they're the first company that produces watercolors without thickening agents. You can buy them separately as a medium to put into your paints, but really most people just like to use transparent paint or granulating paints. Some prefer opaque if they want to use gouache or whatever, but so they do not use that silicone dioxide. But for me, I love the granulation effects you get with ultramarine blue, for instance, mixing it with other colors. There's another color that I use by Daniel Smith that I absolutely love, and it's super popular and very expensive. It's called Moon Glow, and it is amazing. It's a deep brownish purple. It's a strange color, and it's basically a night color or a shadow color, and it produces the most beautiful textural effects. So without that silicone dioxide in your paint, you're not going to get anything that's granulating in these colors. So if you don't like granulation effects, then this paint might be the paint for you. Another thing that they claim is because of their super secret binder that they use, which are free of thickening agents or fillers, they state that even when your paints are dry in the palette, you could take a damp brush and just reactivate them with one swipe. Now, I have seen people do that on YouTube, so I was really impressed by that, because that's a difficult shoe to fill, you know, and it makes it very easy for painting. And these paints are supposed to have super high pigment quality. Now, the ones that I'll be using today are going to be wet in my palette, because I'm just setting it up right now. So let's get going. I'm going to set it up. You're not going to have to sit through the whole setup. The one thing I am going to show you, though, is the way it comes. Like I said, it comes in this box, and it is covered in a plastic bag. It shows the colors on the back of the box in the order that they come in the little boxes inside the palette. Then you open up this palette. It's just got the flip release, and it does, I don't know if it snaps closed or not, let me see, but it also comes with all of the paints set up. Now, I moved them backwards. These two are on this side, these two on this side. The way I want to set up my palette is, sometimes I set up my palette in a rainbow order: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violets, and then my browns, blacks, whites, whatever. But usually when you're setting up a palette, you will start with your yellows, move through the oranges, reds, violets, blues, greens, and then your browns, blacks, whatever. So I'm going to set my palette up this way. My large palette, my porcelain palette that's sitting over here behind me, you can't see it. It is also set up that way. It's set up in a color wheel formula. So I'm going to go ahead and set these up right now, and we will go ahead and get started. Okay, I just wanted to go back and state one thing. I started to stumble over the light fastness chart on these Mijello paints because they have a different way of reading their light fastness. The ASTM ratings that you get for light fastness are usually just 3 ratings, 1, 2, and 3. 1 is the best light fastness. 3 is the worst. So when I was seeing the 5 stars, I was thinking none of these are any good. But they have their own way of rating them. So the one thing I want to find out now is that when I open one of these colors, I'm wondering if on the label it will have an ASTM rating, which is really the quality rating that you want to get overall. Now, like Daniel Smith, I think every color I've bought is a light fastness 1 quality. The only one I know of that I have, quinacridone pink, they say is light fast, but they say that they do not yet have an ASTM rating on it. So let me just grab one of these. I'm going to not grab a yellow. I'll grab a red, permanent red here. Let's see if I can see anything. Holy crap, this writing is small. Not intended for use by children. Oh, so I guess these are not good for children. So my claim in the beginning, they state that they're non-toxic, but that children shouldn't use them. So are they really non-toxic? That would be my next question. Now, their light fastness rating is still this 5 stars. It says Series C. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe that's just the A through E price group. So this red is a Series C price group, so middle of the range if you were going to replace it. But it does not have an ASTM rating on it. It does show the pigment, though. It says conforms to ASTM D4238 or something like that, which basically means that it conforms to ASTM standards. But if you're using ASTM standards, then why not use their light fastness chart 1, 2, 3 rather than 5 stars down to 1 star? It's just confusing. So anyway, that's the deal with those, and I just wanted to let you know that. Okay, so I waited about 3 or 4 days after putting my paints in the palette to begin painting, and there's a couple things I want to point out. First of all, with the plastic palette, you're going to have to prep the plastic so that you don't get beating up of your paints on the palette. What I did was I took a sponge with the green scrubby on the back of the sponge, and I just scrubbed my palette. Now it's going to put fine scratches in your palette, but your palette is not going to stay nice. The second you use a plastic palette, it's going to stain with any paint that is a staining paint. You can see here that I've got permanent discoloring already of my palette. If you want to avoid that at all, you really need to be using a porcelain palette. My big studio palette is a porcelain palette, but for traveling, I don't do that. Enamel palettes, some really well-made enamel palettes will prevent some staining, at least until they get scratched, but these will not. So the next thing I wanted to point out also is that the paint never dries. It never dries. It is gooey. This has been 4 days, and let me just show you how gooey it is. I just barely touched that. It drives me, whoops, it was this one. It drives me crazy. I can't stand it. I guess because I'm so used to having paint dry in a palette and then reactivating them, I can't put my color chart in my palette or anything because it's going to get all messed up in these paints. Now, I could have put less paint in each well, and I meant to do that. I just got a little crazy with the squeezing. But I also did make a color chart, and I set it up exactly like the paints are set up. Let me see if I can back this up a little bit for you so that you can see exactly how they are. Since this review's gotten a bit long, I think it's probably best if I just stop it here and do a second video with a demonstration of the Mijello Mission Gold watercolors in a painting. So I hope that I was able to answer any questions that you may have had regarding the Mission Gold watercolors. I did a lot of research, so if you have other questions, just put them down below in the comments section and I will respond to those. You may not hear from me for a couple of weeks because I will be without internet while I'm on vacation. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and if you're not new to the channel, thank you for stopping back. I do appreciate each and every one of you for subscribing to my channel. I'm actually a little bit surprised that anybody even wants to listen to me, but I appreciate it all. So leave comments down below if you have questions, concerns, or you have an idea of something that you'd like me to do in the future. And everybody have a terrific day. Bye.